Welcome back to Two Fins and One Star. Wrong podcast. We're bringing you the Pro Football Pod.
That's
Friday, Funday
actual.
for the fans.
Two fins, one star. That is, if that is what you're looking for, you're on the wrong one.
Hey, I mean, that's pretty much what you're getting most of the time. We're a Commanders podcast there for a little while, and then we transferred over to straight into the Houston Texans. 100%. I'm pretty sure that we're across the board Houston Texans now.
I think they're America's team now.
I think you're probably right. Definitely not Dallas. That's for damn sure.
Oh, no.
Justin?
I think he's...
Well, while we experience those technical difficulties, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you're listening to the episode. Also, go to Tulsi Rose at tulsirosetea.com for any of your tea needs. They've got over 108 different types of tea, all kinds of stuff for the winter. We're going to go right into some matchups. We're starting off with Los Angeles going into Baltimore. And I would be afraid for the Rams if it wasn't for the way they looked against Cleveland last week. Arguably, Baltimore could have a better defense. They haven't played better than Cleveland throughout the season, but I mean, they've got a bunch of great pieces. They're in Baltimore.
A lot healthier than they were last year.
Now, the Rams aren't playing at home, though, where they had the benefit of playing the Browns defense at home.
Yes.
Browns defense has been bad on the road. Baltimore's defense at home has been just basically elite all season long.
Lions and Seahawks are top 10 offenses, except for whenever they played Baltimore. Like,
in
for
Baltimore.
the whole offense, for the whole season.
Yeah, like Baltimore, like teams just play better at home. And I know that's redundant to say, like, oh, of course they do. But I mean, when it comes to certain teams like Baltimore, I'd say Pittsburgh, but after what they showed
last two games.
Thursday night football, that was
In a 5-day span.
There's certain teams when they play at home, they're just stronger. They're going to put up more of a fight. The Buffalo Bills, prime example.
Yep.
Like, so Baltimore at home with a minus 7.5 spread. I hate that spread. With that spread, I'll take the Rams plus the 7.5 because you're giving me an extra point than what I wanted. If it was minus 6.5, I'd lean more Ravens, but that extra point there's going to get you. I'll lean Rams on that plus 7.5. That over under 40.5. I don't know how I feel about it. I would lean the over on that if I'm being honest, because I think big plays will happen in this game.
That's what it
has the making for a shootout.
You got an elf on a shelf going on up there?
Yes, sir.
I just now noticed that.
It is a little bit cut off on the stream. I don't know if you can like make him hang on to the mic stand. There you go. He's good now.
There we go.
Yeah. Do you guys got a name for your elf yet?
Henry
the elf.
Henry.
There you go.
Ours is the girl's elf. His name is Gumdrop.
Gumdrop.
See, that's a good elf name.
Nice. Now, are you guys touching? Okay, so like Cooper Kupp, I think is a big example of like he's playing against a good offense. He's been kind of non-existent the last couple of weeks. He's a great player.
He did decent.
He had a touchdown, and if he didn't have the touchdown, then he basically would have had like a useless game. Compared to Puka Nacua, who's getting a bunch of targets and looks and blah, blah, blah. He did have that one big play. So are you guys shying away from anybody in this game fantasy-wise, or are you just going full steam ahead? Because I'm not really afraid of the Rams' defense, but Baltimore does scare me.
Baltimore's players? Like their
No. Like the Rams
fantasy players?
The elite
against
Rams
Baltimore.
Fantasy, exactly.
I don't think they should worry you. I think Puka and Cooper get it done. And I'm excited that Kyron's back.
I can't believe you didn't say Kyron.
Well, see, that's my
I'm
thing
just saying their offense is so much more explosive. We're at the point in the year, too,
to where guys like Kupp, Puka, Kyron, Zay Flowers on the other side, to an extent, Gus Edwards, like, you're playing these guys. Yep. Almost like without hesitation, just because of the consistency they've shown throughout the year.
Did you say Odell?
Like they have Odell of lately has been a sneaky flex play, but
especially
it's also
with Andrews out.
He's great for me as far as like betting props of like taking like his over under of like 35.5 yards. but he doesn't really get you much more than that. The only benefit with Odell is he's the guy that they're wanting to take deep shots with.
Yep.
So you're always getting at least some 40-yard bomb to him to where you get that chance at least once a game.
Him and Zay, I feel like, have opposite roles to what we expected. We expected Odell to eat in the middle, to like kind of get worked all the time. 10, 8 to 10 targets average, maybe 7 to 10, something like that. And instead it's Zay getting way more targets and Odell's getting the deep work. And maybe that's part of just who they are as players at this point in their careers.
A younger buck receiver, you're going to feed him more. You know he
also
can
think
handle
about
that.
it as the safeties back
Odell's
there.
fragile.
Who's distracting you more, Odell Beckham Jr. or a rookie in Zay Flowers? For as good as Zay Flowers has been, Odell's going to get my attention 10 out of 10 times.
Now, I think it's a similar thing with the New Orleans Saints in like the way that Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave are. I think that Chris Olave is getting 100% of all looks. Like from the defensive standpoint, they are trying to shut him down. And they get Carolina this week in New Orleans. It's a divisional matchup. New Orleans losing and letting the Falcons take that step into the playoffs, not good for them. So I think that this is going to be one of those opportunities for them to like really step up. I think that the 38.5 is not something I believe in. I think the over is going to hit on this just because of New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans defense has been kind of subpar in the last 4 weeks. Off. And I don't think Marshawn Lattimore's playing yet. I think that he's still hurt, and that's why they've been subpar.
But this Young hasn't been able to produce enough points to where like the over would entice me, because I don't think New Orleans has to score more than 28 points to get out of this. I feel you. So like you're a touchdown and a field goal away from hitting that over.
That under 38.5, if you are leaning either way, that's a great one to throw in a teaser.
Okay.
Give yourself a few extra points on that. Like if you like the under, tease that baby up to about 42, 43, 44.5. And give yourself a little bit more cushion if you're feeling it on the under, because I do see what y'all are saying on both sides, but I have to lean and agree more with Austin to where I don't think Carolina puts up enough points to help that over. And I think both defenses are just solid enough to where not necessarily any like big plays are going to happen outside of Chris Olave doing something.
I feel like it's the divisional for me. That's the difference maker. If it was New Orleans playing against another team that's subpar, I mean, not like if it was New Orleans playing against the Patriots, I think it'd be even more. And the Patriots have arguably a better defense than the Panthers. I just think that they would be able to put up more against them. The way that their defense works, like
what I look at as if you're just going by, PFF metrics, just to give you one set of metrics to look at for rankings. The Panthers have the 15th overall defense, whereas the Saints have the 8th. On the offensive side, the Panthers have the 30th, whereas the Saints have the 18th. So that makes me like scream to the under. Just because of, like you said, divisional game, hard-fought game. Both of these teams, they're more of a run-first base team, even if the Saints are using Taysom Hill. So I lean the under there, and honestly, I lean the Saints minus 5.5 as well. I think they should be able to cover by a touchdown at home.
Yeah, I like that spread. Who's quarterbacking, though, for the Saints? That's important.
It's likely going to be Jameis. They're not going with Taysom, dude.
Jameis and Hill.
They don't trust him for whatever
reason.
They use him.
Start, but if it's
they definitely use him.
Taysom will still get his same work. He'll still take about 7 to 10 snaps.
Which he was doing even whenever Carr was the quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the quarterback starting does not affect Taysom Hill at all. Like their game plan with him is Taysom specific.
Yeah.
Their game plan completely changes if Taysom gets hurt. Because then that just takes out a whole section of their playbook.
Which is exactly what we thought was going to happen to the Cincinnati Bengals whenever they lost their starting quarterback. And then last week, that didn't seem to be the case.
Browning.
they seem to think that they can still make a push, and they're going
Browning.
balls to the wall, dude. Loved
He
it.
would have had a literal perfect game if it didn't come for drops and
Yep.
like maybe one throwaway.
Now,
Like as far as like inaccurate passes, that dude was dicing it up. Like everything I saw on the Twitter betting streets of like player prop bets were way off on everything Cincinnati Bengals, myself included.
Oh yeah, we missed out on a great opportunity.
Missed out.
Now,
Big time.
there have been other players that have also had great games. I don't know if you guys remember Matt Flynn. He used to play for the Green Bay Packers, and Aaron had to miss a couple
Legendary
games.
game.
Threw 4 touchdowns for the
7.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was 7 touchdowns.
In the final game, 7 touchdowns, and that's what got him paid by the Seahawks.
And then it was Russell Wilson that ended up taking his job, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that was his first game starting.
No, that was his last game. I think he started 3 games, and then the third one he threw 7 touchdowns.
And then he just popped off. So it does
Yeah.
happen like that. But
It
it's
does,
crazy
but
to see,
Matt Flynn was a nobody. After that, he wasn't capable of ever producing, and that's what I want to say.
That's what's strange. About
Whoa,
Is that-
whoa, not a nobody. LSU legend. He brought a
That's
natty
college.
to LSU.
That's college. What are we
He
talking
brought
about?
a natty there.
We are the Pro Football Pod. All right, Andy's going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's
recruiters.
favored minus 1.5. Are you guys hearing that? Cincinnati's favored in this game.
Well, did
because
you
of
see
last
what
week.
Browning just
But
did?
but I
mean,
don't. I'm from a betting standpoint. Isn't that gold? I'm pretty sure Gardner Minshew leads them to victory. They've won 5 straight games.
No.
They're on the road, but Cincinnati's.
I'm not betting against Cincinnati with what they just did.
Okay.
I
How
think
could
this
you?
is the prime time to do it, though.
Let me just kind of side with Colby on this one for that factor of think of the high that they're riding on now. Holy shit, what did we just do to the Jaguars? Like, we might have a chance here. Like, we really might be able to, like, you know, make some noise in the playoffs. We're just riding it right now. Meanwhile, that is always Gardner Minshew's mentality. Like, just grip it and rip it, baby. Like, so for me, I would not be shocked to see the Colts come into Cincinnati and just kind of bring them back down to earth a little bit, just take them back down a notch. Because Jake Browning's not going to throw almost 30 passes and only incomplete 4 of them again. Like, that's just not going to happen.
And it's not because
And
Indy's
with the receivers he
defense
has,
is
it's possible.
so good.
I mean, I get that, Austin.
They're
but
good
like,
enough to get that
after
open.
one game, this dude's not going to come out and all of a sudden be Joe Burrow or Peyton
And Joe
Manning.
Burrow didn't look good for most
What
of the season.
if it's
remember.
not Joe Burrow and it's Jamar Chase?
I mean, it is
that makes
Jamar
quarterbacks
Chase.
look
He's
that good?
always open. Like we know
Now,
that.
before that big play, before that like huge play that he had, Jamar Chase had 6 receptions for about 30 yards. So like
Still getting targeted though.
getting targeted like crazy, which
But
is
that
great
doesn't
for
help
Jamar
his
Chase
team.
owners.
Not really. Like
But as
that's
far
what
as
Justin's
looking
saying.
at the outlook of like the game, the way the game is played, I don't know. The Colts are about middle of the pack versus wide receivers fantasy wise. So you still expect Jamar to be Jamar. He'll probably end up with 60, 70 yards as his floor. Like, that's fine. But I'm looking at Jake Browning of, okay, that's cool. Do it again.
Yep. And I don't think
So
he
this
can.
is-
I don't think that's who he is. I've seen too many big pop star games, and then we expect like, okay, perfect example. Tennessee's not Malik Willis, Will Levis.
Will Levis. Yeah.
had
great example.
such a great game this year.
Week
and
one.
then like we haven't seen anything since
Or
that's
not
shown
week one,
any
but
star
the
power.
first game
His
he
first
started,
week,
yeah.
yeah. So that's our point, Austin, is like I don't want to believe in Jake Browning too much where I'm not willing to go for Indianapolis, especially giving them a 1.5 at a minus 105.
Let me put it this way.
the better running
Because,
back.
though, I'm not willing to just completely dismiss what the Bengals did in that game, how efficient Joe Mixon was able to look, the game plan with Browning getting
solid
a
B.
absolute full week of preparation. I don't want to touch the winner of this game either way. I
You
actually
like that over?
I like the under
Under 43.5?
No.
because of
It's a shootout.
them coming back down a little bit.
Indy has been in so many shootouts this year, dude. Like they're
The Gardner Minshew effect does
Exactly.
bring that into where
and
they
sometimes
can
it was
score
Seattle.
20 in the
Like
fourth quarter.
it was other teams that are shootout capable. But I'm telling you, bro, Cleveland versus Indianapolis, both teams put up 30 points. Like,
Do we know what the weather's looking like in Cincinnati this weekend?
probably
Anybody?
bad. Everything I've heard is that the weather is really bad, even worse than it was last weekend, all over,
In
except for
Indy
here because it's beautiful
or
right here
Cincy?
in
It's
the
at
mountains of
Cincy,
North
right?
Carolina.
The game's in
I'm about to
Cincy,
say.
so it's
It
outdoors.
should be in Indy if it's a bad weathered game. Makes no sense. Hey, come
Now,
on.
Well,
Well,
that's
like I
not
said,
how
though,
it works.
if I
you don't
lean
get
a
to give
winner,
up a home
if
game.
I lean a winner, I lean Indy for the fact of they're still not out of it mathematically in the playoffs, especially with Trevor Lawrence getting hurt. So they still have everything to play for. And the Bengals, after that game last night or on Monday night, they are looking at it like they still have a shot and everything to play for. So I'm not touching a side on the betting realm, but I still lean Indy just because it's hard for me to bet against Gardner.
Now, as much
Electric.
of this offseason having to hear about how if Tua can stay healthy, then the Dolphins are going to be great. I love how many games we're going to get this week where both teams are dealing with backup quarterbacks because of how many freaking quarterbacks have gone down this year. Because maybe it'll stop. 8 quarterbacks have gone down, 8 starters.
Starting quarterbacks have gone down, and I believe all
You
8
love
have
that for
gone out
football.
for the season as well. Like when you Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers, Anthony Richardson, Kirk Cousins.
Yep, those were the first 3 I thought of.
Yeah, like I mean, I can't.
Well,
rattle them all
now,
off
now
Watson,
you've got Trevor
Pickett.
Lawrence and Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's gone for the year. Trevor Lawrence is not. Now he is going to miss this week.
He's a dog.
Damn, we lost Justin again. He is going to miss this week. The Cleveland Browns are favored -3 in Cleveland with a 33.5 over under. I think you go under there, right? Like, I mean, Joe Flacco has been decent at putting up
Flacco's
some
been
points,
spinning the pill.
but all he's got to do is
And
put
the
up.
Jags giving up. I mean, look how much they gave up to Jake Browning. I mean, Joe Flacco, you don't have much tape on him coming in except for fucking 2008 tape. You know,
Joe Flacco looked good.
He looked good.
Yeah.
And I'm
He doesn't
so
have a
upset
starting
that Amari got
receiver.
hurt. Well, Amari got
Yeah.
hurt, dude. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Is it a concussion or
I
was
mean-
it lower body? I can't remember.
yeah, I wasn't sure.
It was one of those
I
two.
just know he wasn't playing, and like
I know
I'm
when
looking
he
at Elijah
got hurt,
Moore
he
as
got,
someone
like,
who's going to get a lot of
sandwiched.
targets.
So I do want to say,
That's a good
Could
call.
be
Austin.
eternal.
yeah,
And Njoku, too. I mean, he didn't get a lot of
And
work last
Njoku and
week.
Elijah Moore, though.
but I think
yeah.
Elijah Moore definitely. Jerome Ford was getting work.
He's
Just
been steadily
because.
getting work.
Well, I mean, dude, the moment that he was in the game with Flacco, he got
Yeah.
that touchdown pass.
Amari is questionable with a head injury.
Head injury.
So it's concussion.
Lawrence he is listed as questionable. He has still not been fully ruled out.
I thought
not
I
playing.
got
I'm the
He's gonna play.
Jaguars.
today.
If I'm the Jaguars, I know they're playing for their life and stuff, but if he's anything under 75% with that like an ankle injury, I don't know how I feel about sending him
You guys
out.
Nah,
have
not
short-term
trying-
memory.
We're trying to make the
He,
playoffs
he,
right now.
he just hurt his ankle like a few weeks ago,
Yeah,
and it was
and
a
then came back
primetime game.
in.
He comes and plays, and then he had the most rushing yards of the game.
Now,
I don't trust Trevor Lawrence. He's playing,
Christian-
and I'm hammering his
Christian
rushing
Kirk
yards.
hitting the IR, that is big time. That's big
Yes.
time for
Huge
fantasy
for Ridley.
purposes. That's big time for betting purposes from the player prop market because
Are
he
you
was
guys
one of
gonna
my
go
favorite guys.
hard on Ridley this week?
No, I'm
or are
going to tell you
wait and
who
see?
this is going to benefit more than it was benefiting already.
Evan.
Evan Ingram.
Evan,
Evan Ingram
Yeah,
is
I agree.
he was already getting minimum 4 receptions a game, 7 targets a game. He was balling. Like fantasy tight end purposes, absolute lock in your lineup.
I
And
can't
I
wait.
think with Kirk going out, obviously Zay Jones's value is going to go up, but I think you're going to see Evan Ingram become even more of a guy that Trevor Lawrence is going to have to lean on, or even more so CJ Beathard if he ends up getting the start this week.
I can't wait to take Evan Ingram in the 5th round next year. Like, I'm already losing sleep about it. Like, I'm so excited just to take him in the 5th because he's going to be there. Every single draft he's going to be there, and he's been the most consistent tight end so far this year. He hasn't been
100%.
I'm going to get the most points every week, but he's been Mr. Consistent. Gerald Everett gave up that title to Evan Ingram.
He's given you 9-10 points in a full PPR league every single week. 4 receptions, 50 yards, like bare minimum every week.
Yep. And he's had a couple touchdowns. Not a lot, which has been the whole Jags problem, is that Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne get all of their touchdowns through rushing. It's like they can't throw when they get to the red zone.
A lot of them.
So
A lot of
pick
them.
a side. Who you got in this game?
I'm taking Cleveland. I think their defense, home game, Joe Flacco.
Same.
Give me the Jags with Trevor Lawrence back there spinning the pill still. Come on now.
Now, Tampa at Atlanta is another divisional matchup, right?
Correct.
And Atlanta needs to win, must win. Basically, Atlanta needs to get a game on everyone else in the division. And Tampa looks like one of those teams that absolutely should win this division. On paper, I think they have the best team. They have probably the best offense that's still healthy, or defense. They have an offense with a great running back, 2 good receivers, a quarterback that's a game manager, and an offensive line that's decent. Now, do we know what the deal is with Tristan Wirfs? I saw him getting carted off or pulled, shouldered off the field last week. Do we know if that's season injury, season ending, or anything like that, or is there no rumors?
I don't see him listed on the injury report.
Okay.
So he should be fine. Now, just to
These
touch
two
on the
teams already
game,
played, right?
the history of the NFC South leads me to believe the Buccaneers will win this game. I say that because this division is always very close. Like someone new is winning it every year.
Tristan Wirfs expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks. It was reported November 28th. So last week, maybe a week and a half ago.
Oh, okay. So that's why he's not on it, because he's already hit IR.
Yep.
All right. So, but anyways, going back to my point, because of this division being so close at all times, this is absolutely one of the typical games where the Falcons see it as we're getting a lead on the division. We can see the playoffs in our sights, and they drop one at home.
Yep.
And so, and honestly, I don't think the Bucs have been playing bad. I think Baker's been playing very decent. He's honestly had one of his best seasons since he was in Cleveland.
Agreed.
So, for me, I'd lean the Bucs, and especially because they're the underdog in this game, you're getting plus money on the money line, plus 2.5 on the spread. I lean the Bucs for sure.
I know that I'm a hater. I think that the Bucs' problem is that they're targeting their best receiver second most. I think Chris Godwin is a better rounded receiver.
He's been dealing with injuries all year,
which he has. I heard about his wife thing and how he hasn't even been missing any games or practices, and he's still getting the full workload. But he a lot of times is out there as a decoy instead of the guy. So there's that. But he's still the better player, dude. In the red zone, I think they'd have a lot more opportunities at touchdowns if they would try to get him the ball within 30 yards from the end zone. I think that's their problem. I think Rachaad White has been playing lights out. I think Mike Evans has been playing amazing, but he's only able to do what he's able to do, and they're asking too much from him. I think if they can round up their offense, because they used to have Scotty Miller, they used to have other pieces that Tom was working. He wasn't just working Evans as a number one receiver. That's how they had value. So that's my only point. Like I said at the beginning, I know I'm an Evans hater, but I think that would help the team moving forward.
Coach just tried to compare Baker Mayfield to Tom Brady.
I just said what Tom Brady did to have success.
Well, I mean, yeah.
If Tom Brady was an elf.
They're very close. Baker's just, 6 Super Bowls away?
Yeah.
Something like that.
6 inches.
Yeah. You're such a sizist.
He's a height elitist.
Justin, I almost got Austin a Tank Dell jersey
line
for Christmas. That's what I was going to get him this year.
Why did you say almost?
Well, because I didn't. I decided to get him something else instead. But I was like 5'9".
That comment got it taken away. You know what? I almost got
that's
it.
That's why I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it because he's 5'9", 175 pounds, soaking wet, and Austin would have to rock
when you were looking at the Tank Dell ones, what were you looking at? Were you looking at the red? Were you looking at the blue color rush with the red numbers?
I think the blue was probably. I mean, for me,
gotta get red.
See, it's all about what Austin would actually want. I wasn't really
battle red.
For me,
I told him red.
I want a CJ Stroud regular, just the home blue colors. Freaking
I want a white
boys.
Boo.
That's boring.
I think that and white would be crisp.
The white
CJ Stroud.
White jerseys are always clean. Like
I
it
can't
really
wear
doesn't
white.
matter what team.
I'm a man. I like to eat barbecue and stuff. Like I
Yeah,
can't
Well,
wear
you take the
white
jersey
now.
off, eat the
I'm
barbecue,
gonna
then you throw
take-
the tarp
Take my
back on.
jersey off.
It is stressful when you have a white jersey on. It is
Dude,
very-
I'm telling
don't
you.
touch me. Don't
I'm
touch me.
telling you.
Yes.
Whenever I'm wearing
Especially
my
when you
Zach
got little
Thomas, I'm just
girls
like,
running
yo,
around.
6 inches. 6 inches. Let's get some space. Now,
That's what you said. All right.
Detroit Lions going to Chicago. Detroit's favored, obviously. How are they only getting 3
Only
points?
3?
How are
That's
they
what I
only
was
getting
thinking.
3, dude?
It's a
40.5?
divisional
43.5 over under. They're only getting 3 points.
Didn't the Bears just beat them?
That feels like such a trap.
Did the Bears
Like
beat
that.
them recently?
That feels like such a trap to where you want to scream to yourself to take the Lions.
I mean, I don't
Yeah,
see
you
any
definitely
other
take the
choice.
Lions there. Yeah, I mean Montgomery touchdown. What's the other running back? They're both getting touchdowns.
Did they?
Like,
they
that's
did
just-
just
they're just a touchdown
You said
factory.
David-
No, not Khalil Herbert.
You're
J-
saying Gibbs.
Gibbs. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just
Jameer.
touchdown factories over there. And then Monra always sneaks out with one, and then Laporta's going to get one. So it's like 4 touchdowns are coming out of the Lions.
You're crazy, Austin. You're crazy.
What?
I love it.
You're
I love
crazy.
it. I mean, no, I kind of agree with you. I mean, Chicago's defense hasn't been great. This is a divisional matchup.
They've actually been solid in the back half of this year. They've been like a top 10 defense.
Okay.
Like honestly. So like it is interesting. Like maybe that's why the spread is the way it is. The over under is not too high.
That it's in Chicago. What's the weather like in Chicago?
Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be rainy there. So that does play into the Chicago's favor. If you remember seeing them last year at the beginning of the year, Justin Fields.
No rain, but it's going to be 35 degrees with 13-mile-an-hour winds.
That's rough. And we know that quarterback
That's
for
what
the
it
Lions
is. It's Jared
don't
Goff
play well
on the road with weather.
on the road.
Yeah, they don't like that. He don't like that at all. So
don't
then
like
I
that
don't know. I might be taking back a lot of what I just said. I mean, I think from a fantasy standpoint, Austin's right. All these guys are likely to get touchdowns. I think that Jameer Gibbs and Montgomery are even more likely, though, because of the wind factor. They should be running this thing up and down the field all day long. Also, we got to think Fields' rushing is going to be hit, right? Like his rushing numbers are going to, even if it's 80 yards, which is going to be like 60, or it's probably going to be 47.
Oh my God! Also, revenge game, right? Yeah, we got the double revenge game. Remember, this was like the greatest bet of the day of the year. David Montgomery anytime touchdown. It hit last 2 seconds of the game, but it hit, and we can run it back.
Yeah,
for
the
plus
Lions
money.
won 31
Even
to
money.
26 in the last game that they played.
Okay. And that was this season.
It was pretty close. It
This
was
is
in
their-
Detroit.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at like same game parlay alternate odd or like alternate lines, if you do David Montgomery 40, Jameer Gibbs 40, Justin Fields 40, that's plus 227 on a parlay there for you.
That's easy money, boy. You know they're
And
getting
I
worked
feel
like that.
I'd feel great about that. Jameer Gibbs 40 plus by himself is minus 108.
That's not bad.
That's awesome. It's
Like
he's
Jameer
getting a
Gibbs
lot of work in the
rushing yards
receiving
is
game,
set
but
at 38.5.
they work him.
How is that so low? Like I know the
They're
Bears have
splitting
been
the backfield
better
like
against the
50-50.
run lately, but that's insane to me, especially in a game like this where you're projecting whether not many passing opportunities outside of Laporta and Amon-Ra. Like that's
All
nuts.
three of these guys are capable of busting it at any given moment.
Yeah, so
At
I would
any given
absolutely
moment.
looking at hammering Jameer Gibbs, and his receiving line is at 25.5.
I caught that, Austin.
Don't hammer anything but David Montgomery anytime touchdown.
Dude, I'm
minus
telling you,
105.
I like that, Austin. I like that a lot. I might be putting it in.
Don't
right
make
now.
any other bets in the day.
Now,
It's
Houston,
minus 105.
Houston Texans
Yeah, I said that.
traveling to the worst place to play in football. I'm so glad Tank Dell's already hurt because I'd be freaking out that he's going to
Whoa.
get hurt in this game. I mean, at least he doesn't have to tear an Achilles.
MetLife, very true.
Going to the
Oh my
Jets.
God, CJ Stroud.
Dude,
Oh,
CJ,
please.
please.
Let's all
peace.
pray for him.
Seriously, if you're, put some views out there for CJ. 3.5 over under or points that Houston's getting. with a 33.5 over under. I think that they expect Houston to get 33.5, 4 points.
I
That's
feel
the
like we
only thing
can't
I
just.
can expect.
I feel like we can't just skip over that topic though. Like, why is this stadium not banned? Like, shut down. Get a new field.
The Jets' team total points right now is set at 14.5.
Under.
If you take away the pick six from the Miami game, has their offense put up that many points?
I
No,
think
they put up like
well,
3
no,
points.
that
Like,
was
is that
there was
them
a
accounting
kick
for a possible
punt return.
defensive touchdown? Though?
Or like a punt return like week 1
100%.
whenever they beat the Bills.
'Cause-
That's the only way
But
they win
that's
football
weird because
games, dude.
Stroud has like the least amount of picks on the year for
the
quarterbacks.
Texans are at 18
He's going up
and
against
a half.
the Jets, though. The Jets
The,
have
I get
the
it.
Jets
against
defense
quarterbacks and wide
is-
receivers best
Yes.
defense. Like it's not even funny.
They're susceptible
I
in the
l-
run,
I love
but
the
that's the
spread.
one weakness of the Texans is their run game.
Now Singletary's healthy, and they
He's been
and
very
Pierce-
solid.
Pierce looked good last week too.
Pierce,
So the two
Pierce
of them,
the end zone.
a little bit of a two-headed monster, could be all that they need to take down the Jets. Now, if they do that, though, the 33.5 is just not happening. I think the under is more likely in this game just because Houston's going to put up their 20-something, and then they're going to win. They're going to just
like
run it
that,
out
actually,
the clock,
yeah.
and they're not going to care about putting up 30.
It could be 28-3, and we still hit that. You know,
Yeah.
we're golden.
24/7, and
Yeah.
you still hit it.
Yeah.
Like so,
And
yeah,
I don't think it goes up that high.
I agree. I think especially if you're looking at some weather up in New York, I'd lean the under on that as well. And I would probably look at making a bet on the Jets team total under as well.
Yeah.
Seattle is traveling
City.
to San Francisco. San Francisco is favored 13.5 versus
Gimme.
Seattle. What?
Gimme. Yeah. I'll take 28.5.
Yeah, Geno's still healthy. They have all three of their receivers. They have both of their running backs. Their full defense is healthy. They legitimately think that a fully healthy Seattle Seahawks is going to get just stomped on by San Fran like that. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I'm
They
going to take
just
14.
stomped out the Eagles.
I get that, and
This
that's
is just another
Austin,
bird.
It's the exact same thing as Jake Browning. I think that's why you take the Seattle 13.5, because the only reason it's as much as it is because Seattle is not as good as the Eagles, and the Eagles got stomped on.
Well,
but
You want a little insight as to why?
yes,
When they played in week 12, so you figure 2 weeks ago,
in Seattle.
in Seattle, San Francisco won 31-13.
Now that was the first game back from their bye week after dropping 3 games in a row.
True.
Stopped.
So I think
But
that
it was in Seattle, and they came in and curb stomped them. So it's not as shocking when you look at it like that. But when I see the Seahawks spread, that's absolutely going off as something that I want to throw in a teaser, because please give me extra points on that, because I'm with you. I don't think they'll win, but I do think they'll keep it generally close. I mean,
They
what was
should.
the
It's a
spread with the
divisional game.
Dallas game?
if they drop into garbage time and they just start throwing the ball down the field, I mean, the pass rush for San Francisco is elite, top tier. Their coverage has been shit for most of the season. They're not covering receivers. Receivers are getting the work done on them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not letting up touchdowns. There's things like that are happening in their favor, and they're scoring a bunch. So they're making it to where it's really hard to keep up with them. What do you think, Austin?
I mean, I don't ever mind backing Pete Carroll. You know, I just love whenever seeing him out there, like the juice he brings to his team.
Yep.
Like that's always exciting just to keep him in it. 14 points, like I think they could definitely do that. But if I had to put my money out there with watching San Fran the past couple weeks, I can't not lay it up with them.
Well, and
Like, they've been too dominant.
well, with how popular betting has become as well, these players know what that spread is. Seattle's sitting there looking at it saying they think we're going to get beat by 2 touchdowns.
Nope, not today.
Like, we're getting spotted 2 touchdowns, right?
DK's
Like, so they
putting
go
up
in with that
points,
mindset.
like
And generally,
JSN, Lockett, they've got pieces.
Any-
Ever since they got
like,
Chase Young, though.
historically,
I
when
agree.
there's a double-digit spread like this in the NFL, the underdog, like if you take the underdog spread, that is generally the winning bet. like
Yeah,
percentage.
especially over the
It wins
season.
like 68% of the time because most games in the NFL are kept within 10 points or less.
Yeah, like 75% of games.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I'm with you there. I'd lean Seahawks on that spread there. I'd absolutely lean the over.
This is just one of those anomaly teams. We haven't seen this caliber of team in a long time. I've never really.
I agree. Now, I think that the reason that quarterback is the hardest position in sports, and the reason that people say that, is not because it's hard to have a good game. It's hard to sustain a bunch of good games. And we finally saw from last week that Josh Dobbs looked like a human being for the first time. Minnesota's going into Las Vegas to play the Raiders. They're getting 3 points on the road, and it's a 40.5 over under. I think that Josh Dobbs is the reason I made the point to he's getting Justin Jefferson back this week. He doesn't have to play the way that he's had to play all season. He's never, ever, ever had a player like Justin Jefferson to throw the ball to. So I really want to see him take a step in getting him the ball as often as possible, and they'll win. It's that simple in my view. Raiders defense has been decent, but really good against the run. I think that that's Minnesota's path to victory, and the -3 just seems like Aiden O'Connell. I don't know if I really believe in them. They lost the head coach firing buff, so now they're just trying to make it to the end of the season.
You're talking about the wrong O'Connell, because the O'Connell I believe in is the Vikings head coach. And coming off a bye week, you give the Pastronaut some time. I think they analyzed it, and
Good point,
you
bye
also have the bye week with Justin Jefferson. Like, he's been practicing with them, getting
7
that
weeks
connection.
that since he's been hurt. By the way, hamstring
Yeah.
injury is 4 to
So
7
you know
weeks.
he's like 100% now.
He's at least 90. He's at least 90.
No, he's not going to put himself out on the field if he wasn't 100. He's literally said that. It came out of his mouth.
My favorite player prop in this game, looking at, and I'm actually shocked they have him listed here already, because Minnesota's run defense has been very good, especially the second half of the season here. I think Josh Jacobs' rushing line right now of 74.5 is a little rich for me.
Yeah, it's
However,
because of what he did to
his
the Dolphins.
receptions line at 2.5, I love
Oh,
the
that's
over on that.
juicy.
You're looking at 3 little swing passes. You
Which
need
they've
3 dump
been
offs. You're
doing.
not worried about the yards. Just get it in his hands real quick. You're Aiden O'Connell. You're talking about an inexperienced quarterback. What's he going to do whenever panic sits in? We know Brian Flores loves to bring the heat. So what's going to happen? It's going to be a dump off. So you look at him and Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer over 2.5 receptions as well. Now his is juiced at -154. By Sunday, I think that'll be at 3.5 with plus odds on it. So if you can, while you're listening to this, if you don't mind the juice, go ahead and get it now, because Mayer and Josh Jacobs should both clear that line easily.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the game goes, I don't like the game. I don't want to pick a winner in this game. This is
Oh,
one of those to where
It seems
on
difficult.
red
I'm backing the
zone,
Vikings.
It
you're
should
not
be
gonna see it
Minnesota.
very much.
Well, it is a 4
But I agree.
5 game.
Minnesota is overall, I think, the better team. But where we're looking at strength versus strength and weak versus weakness, they both have good run defenses. They both have terrible pass defenses.
Man, this 4 o'clock slate: Seattle, San Francisco, Minnesota, Los Angeles, or Las Vegas, Denver, Los Angeles Chargers, and then Buffalo, Kansas City.
Kansas City, yeah.
What a slate! Like, I can't wait for 4 o'clock on Sunday. Denver
Yep.
Broncos are traveling to Los Angeles Chargers. They're getting a 2.5.
How are the Chargers favored?
Getting 2.5. I don't get it either.
Okay,
They
that's
scored
home field
6 points
advantage,
last week,
but-
dude. They scored 6
Yeah.
points. Austin
And they're
Eckler
going
looks
up against
done.
another great defense, a guy who's been shutting down elite receivers all year in Surtain.
Yep.
So this is a scary one.
Well, especially when you're a team like the Chargers and you literally only have one receiver.
One.
Like one guy to focus on. If I'm Broncos, I don't care what my system is. I don't care what my defensive scheme is.
Keenan Allen doesn't beat us.
You are following Keenan the entire game. You
If he
shadow
doesn't beat
him.
us, they can win. If they
Yeah,
don't let
exactly.
Keenan beat them, they can win.
And the way you look at these spreads too is they're -2.5 at home, which tells you on a neutral field they think that the Broncos would actually be the favored team.
Yep. Which
So
I
because
think
of
is
that-
true.
I lean the Broncos with the way these teams have been playing, and I absolutely would take the Broncos with the plus 2.5 because
Yep.
you're giving me points there.
Exactly. Now, what do you think about the 43.5 over under? I think that's a bit rich. Denver really hasn't been
don't
putting
like
up
it.
points like that, and Los Angeles hasn't really been putting up points like that, but both teams can. So like it's a little bit scary to go either way, like to just nail the under. At least it's 43. That's the one thing that does make me happy about it is that that's, 20 20, and we're right there. So that seems scary though. Both of these teams have offenses that could turn it up and
Yeah, I don't
defenses
like
that
it.
could just totally not show up because they've done that this season.
I lean the under just because of the inefficiency these offensive has shown, especially in the red zone.
Now,
Yeah, this is a tough one.
I think that the hardest matchup to truly like gauge of what's going to happen is Buffalo versus Kansas City. In the past, if you look at the last 3 times that they played each other, Josh Allen has thrown like 10 touchdowns for 0 interceptions for nearly 1,000 yards in the last 3 times that they played each other, like combined, obviously. But so Josh Allen's the factor in this game to me. Now, Bills have a bad defense, and the Chiefs have a bad offense. So it could go either way. I'm really terrified to pick either
Bad
side
offense.
Josh
They
Allen
can
anytime
get it going when they
touchdown
need
is plus
to.
185.
for him to
There we
rush. I
go.
think that's nail
That's
that.
money. He wants
He's-
to do that so bad against them.
Dude, against
Like
everyone.
he dreams
loves
about
rushing.
it. He
You
really
got to
does.
think too, especially because of their bye week, like for all intents and purposes, especially with all this stuff that came out with McDermott about the 9/11
Dude, I
speech he
hate
gave and
that.
all that,
I
like
hate that.
the Bills lost during their bye week. Like that doesn't happen very much, but like the Bills had a more negative light shown on them throughout their bye week. Not only people talking about how much they're struggling,
And
how
Josh
much
Allen and
Allen's
Stephon Diggs, yep.
interceptions are affecting their team, how much these turnovers are affecting them at the end of games, like how much this defense is letting them down. Like that's all they've heard their entire bye week. I actually like the Bills in this game
Me too.
because of they're also looking at it realistically, especially with the Dolphins and how the Dolphins have been playing and where they have a 2.5 game stranglehold on that division right now. The Bills cannot afford a slip up. They've got Kansas City this week. They've got Dallas next week. Like, I mean, the Bills' schedule right now, they have maybe, I think they can afford maybe 1 loss, and that's it. If they lose 2 games the rest of the season, I think their playoff hopes are absolutely toast. I don't like their
All these-
chances right now anyways with teams like Houston above them, Indianapolis above them. Like you're looking at these teams and you're looking at their schedules and it's like I don't know. The Bills have a long road to the playoffs, but it starts here. Like
Yeah,
so
these
I lean Buffalo in the game.
these great teams like Buffalo and Kansas City, Cowboys, Eagles, 49ers, they've been having the toughest matchups in
Fuck
this
you,
back half
Austin.
of the year.
Fuck you.
Not the Dolphins though. They've had a
Fuck
smooth
you, dude.
sailing.
Fuck you. We've had a bunch of tough matchups, and we still have to play
You know what's
Baltimore
funny?
and
The
one
Dolphins
of the teams
have
you just
played the
named.
exact same schedule the Buffalo Bills have played, aside from 2 games. That's how it works in the divisions there. So, like, yes, the Bills have had a tough schedule. So have the Dolphins. You know, the
still
only
yet to
winning
beat a
team the Buffalo
with a
Bills have
plus
beaten.
500 record.
That's not true.
You know, the
Denver
only
has
team
a
with
plus
the plus
500 record.
500. What? You know, the only team with a plus 500 record the Bills have beaten, the
Who?
Miami Dolphins. So, like,
Well,
Bills
that's not
fans,
good
you
for
can
y'all. Say you
call
week
the
18.
Dolphins trash, but then that means the only team that you beat with a winning record is trash. So, like, go ahead.
Yeah,
Like, so that's my thing. Like,
that's a good point.
and like I said, with saying all that, I like the Bills in this game because I believe they have more to play for. I don't think the Chiefs are worried about their division. I don't think they're worried about their playoff hopes. I think the Chiefs generally just kind of roll with that. Like, we have Pat, we have Kelsey, we have Andy Reid, we're fine.
I think the
Is
Chiefs'
Taylor going to be there?
only real worry at this point is getting their offense rolling, getting Rashee Rice playoff ready, getting
Getting
Kelsey
receptions.
and everybody kind of like on the same page to where they can just start to move the ball down the field. The Chiefs used to be
They're
that
down
offense
Pacheco.
that you don't kick the ball
Pacheco
to them.
is out this game.
You don't kick the ball off to the Chiefs because they're going to score a touchdown and they're going to be up 7-0. And then if they stop you, then they're going to score a touchdown on the next drive and be up 14-0. And you can't handle that, so you just receive. That's who the Chiefs used to be. So
Used to.
I think that they are worried about not being that. Their defense is awesome, but that can't carry them. They need Pat Mahomes and this team to be able to step up. So I think that versus Buffalo has a middle of the pack defense that was elite at the beginning of the year. They have to show up. I think Chiefs win this game. I think it's a lot more important to them, and they're in Arrowhead.
Do you think the Bills are better than the Packers?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I think their offense is better. Like they're more elite.
I think the defense
more
for the
structural.
Packers is really good. Not top 10, but like really good. And the Bills have just been
their defense
unable
is better.
to really
they
stop
should
anybody.
be.
Agreed. Now, the last three matchups we have, at least one of them is going to be good. Philadelphia is going to Dallas. Dallas is favored minus 3.5 with a 51.5 over-under. God damn. Gotta love that. That's,
I mean, how do you not
highest in
hammer
the
that
weekend.
with the Cowboys scoring 41 every single week?
seriously.
Like,
I mean, they didn't score 41 against Philly. The last time that they played each other,
no, it was still high scoring.
I want to say the 51.5 probably got hit still.
Yeah, it did. I'm curious the Cowboys total spread. This Jalen Hurts has been a little banged up over these past couple games, so that's we've just not seen him running, not at all. There's been a question of whether or not they should sit him because they are playoff bound, but they're also playing for number 1 seed, so that's
Well,
he's kinda
that's the
forced.
problem with them losing that game last week. They really can't afford a slip up without allowing the 49ers or even Dallas to jump up and take that number 1 spot. So Hurts is going to play, obviously, but it does worry you as much as, how much it's going to hamper him. I like Dallas to win the game. Of course, they gave us that 3.5 on the spread. So,
Hate it.
just
That's tough.
hate you, sports books. But
Couldn't be 2.5.
I want to lean Eagles there just because of that. Just because of the
what these teams have to play for, I lean the over in this game, even though it's such a high over. And even though it is a primetime game, the Cowboys, I mean, we lean unders on primetime Thursdays for sure, and they smoked that with the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm. Like some ribs.
Now, Tennessee is traveling
brisket.
to Miami. And I think that something that's important to realize about the Miami Dolphins moving forward is that in their minds, they've probably already made the playoffs. And they're fighting for seeding, so winning these games matter. But playing for some crazy, Los Angeles Rams record of most yards and, greatest show on turf and all this stuff that was being talked about the first 6 weeks is irrelevant to the team. I think that they're going to win this game. I think the 13.5 is probably going to get hit because their defense is playing lights out, and Will Levis isn't going to be able to do much against
He got
Ramsey
some dog in him.
And I
You see
agree.
you see him chirping
Ramsey's
at
going to be
D-Hop?
locking down Hopkins. Hopkins
Tennessee's
is not going to
pass
touch the ball.
defense is terrible, which just does not serve well versus the Dolphins. So
now they don't give up as many deep plays as the Commanders. Commanders gave up more deep plays than anybody all year. That's why Tyreek had 2 60-plus yard touchdowns.
Here we go. So Tyreek's over-under yards is set at 108.5.
I was going to say it's at least 1-5.
Waddle's is set at 70.5.
Yep.
Do not touch his receiving props.
Yeah, I don't like touching Waddle just because if he ends up missing the whole second and third quarter because of some weird injury and he is too up and down. I want to see more consistency from him before I start hammering bets on him. I just want to see him play a whole season, maybe 5 games in a row without getting taken out.
Now, one thing you have noticed with the Dolphins is even though, and they're fully aware of the whole story, is they haven't beat a team with a winning record. Like, they're fully aware of that. But as what we've been preaching all season, they are beating the teams they're supposed to beat, and they're beating them handedly.
Yes.
And they're doing that, I believe, by design. Because if these are the teams that are clearly inferior to you, you should stomp them out. It should be a consistent game, start to finish, of just complete efficiency.
Yep.
And that's what they've shown in these games. Like the last week versus the Commanders was a prime example. We're supposed to go in here. We're supposed to win. We're supposed to demolish them. We did.
The beginning of the Hard Knocks episode this week, Mike McDaniel said it, that our opponent is irrelevant to us. We're going to do our thing this week. We're going to do it the way that we need to do it, no matter who we're playing against. And I think that's the big mentality thing that's the difference. Now, my only reason for saying that the 13.5 is a bit high for me is because the Dolphins don't need to win by 14 points to make it to the fucking playoffs. They need to win by 1. So whenever they're winning by 10,
Mike likes to put up points so that he feels comfortable.
No, but that's
by
the
half.
thing is, I don't think they're trying to. I think their offense is
they're just that good.
That way.
I think I agree with you in that, and I think he's just testing his waters.
Run and say don't get in the end zone. You can't help if Tua sees Tyreek 50 yards down the field.
Tua's got the
wide
tiger
open.
in his eye. If you haven't seen from watching Hard Knocks, this dude is just focused. I mean, he's all about holiday. He loves life.
As a Dolphins fan, like, you don't want to get ahead of yourself because we've seen this blow up so many times. But if this was any other team on the outside, this is one of those, like, just laser focused teams. Like, every single player has that one constant goal of we can actually do this.
Yep.
If we focus, to where you don't see that on many teams. Some guys have bought in, most of the team has bought in, but some guys really aren't, to where just being a fan of the Dolphins and just knowing the team inside and out, like, dudes on the practice squad are fully bought into this team, to where, like, it's literally top to bottom. And like I said, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but if they do end up going and winning it, like, it's, to me, it's not all that shocking for the history of what you've seen other teams do to win it and how close they've been and how just well everybody's meshed, how much they've just clicked in the games that they're supposed to click on. Like, yes, the Dolphins have hit speed bumps, but those have been the necessary speed bumps to hit before you get to the games that matter.
Exactly. The ones that, the way that Mike keeps putting it, the tournament. You know, whenever it matters, whenever there's a tournament in place, and if you lose, you're out, that's whenever all these things that everyone keeps saying, that's whenever we need to.
He said it he said it in the game in Germany. He was like, if we beat the Chiefs, awesome. He was like, guess what? We won week 9. We're 7-2.
Yep.
He's like, if we lose, guess what? We're 6-3. Which is what ended up happening. But and he was like, that's really all that matters. He was like, now if we get to the end of the season and we miss the playoffs, this might be a game you look back on and it's like, oh, well, what could I've done here, here, and here? He was like, but that's not how you look at it.
Nope, not right now. It's about this week moving on. I think that moving on, Green Bay.
Hold on. Before you do, put your bet in right now for them to win the AFC. Because I do reckon there's nobody that really takes you guys out. Yes.
Over Baltimore.
You guys. Yeah, but you'll come out on top over Baltimore. Like, after playoffs and everything, you guys win the AFC to go
to the Super Bowl. Oh, okay, you're saying.
Yeah, like, I think this is your guys' year. Like, you know, it's the same way I talk about the 49ers. You guys have that many elite athletes on both sides of the ball to do it. So, like, definitely don't feel bad.
I mean, we all know it. It's Philly, Dallas, San Fran in the NFC, and then I think that it's legitimately Baltimore, Kansas City, Miami in the AFC,
and maybe the Bills if they can get their head out of their ass.
Bro, the Bills
like,
are
maybe.
Done. I know that you love them and you love Josh, and I feel you, and I think that
there's too many high-powered athletes out there.
The reality,
they're moving around, getting that ball. Like, you never know.
They lose this week, they don't make the playoffs. Like,
but like we talked about, we do think that they win this one.
Yeah. So Green Bay's traveling to New York. They're favored 6.5, which is kind of low for me. Not because of what they did last week, but because of New York. I know that Christian Watson is still questionable, so we don't know if he's going to necessarily be playing. That's definitely a big deal at this point for their offense. We see how much he's being utilized. But I think that Jaden Reed should be back. He had a concussion, I believe, so he only had to miss the 1 week. And Romeo Doubs still looks fully healthy. Aaron Jones is still out, but that doesn't seem to matter either because he's irrelevant.
I think the real heroes of this game is definitely going to be the staff of the stadium for New York. How are they going to clean up all the popcorn that quick and produce another football game the next day?
Dude, for real.
That's pretty wild.
They get a 1 o'clock
all the trash
game.
in the parking lots, like all that.
Isn't it 1 o'clock?
That's a lot.
Yeah, at least it's 1 o'clock. So by 4 o'clock on Sunday, they have to start getting ready for an 8:16 kickoff.
And
Monday.
people wonder why MetLife Field is just dog shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
I love the Packers getting that minus 6.5. That's the magic number I want to see right there. Like,
Yes,
I don't care
sir.
that they're on the road. I don't care that it's prime time. It's the Giants. Like,
Yep.
and I know they've been looking decently better.
And I think they had a bye last week too.
And Tyrod, I believe, has come back, but he still isn't getting the start. They're still rolling with Tommy DeVito. Like,
Yep.
and yeah, I cannot see me taking the Giants. I cannot see me backing the Giants on a spread at all. Jordan Love's been playing awesome. It's not been like every other week here lately. It's been the last 5 weeks. He's just been a great, just fantasy viable quarterback.
Especially in the fourth quarter. I love seeing a player like Jordan Love being able to take steps in the quarter. It's the most important quarter in football, dude. That's how you win football games. You produce in the fourth. That's Pat Mahomes' whole game plan, his whole career is I'm just going to win in the fourth. And he has.
So they're getting Aaron Jones back?
No. I don't think so.
I mean, he's listed
He's
as in
questionable.
the touchdown, anytime touchdown. Like,
He's questionable.
he's up
right
there
now.
Yeah,
plus
he's
130.
questionable. He might
So-
be coming back, but
What's interesting is
fantasy
Jaden
purposes,
Reed.
he's not going in my lineup.
No, definitely not.
Jaden Reed's the lowest odds for a receiver to get a touchdown for the Packers.
So Aaron Jones limited practice on a Friday. Bad news. I know that he plays on Monday, so the limited practice tomorrow is the real telltale, but still bad, man. I want to see 2 full practices, not 1.
Yep.
It's just, and especially the way his season's going, I really want to see 2 full practices in a game, not just 1 practice. Like,
Yep.
I want to see a full game of him being not dominant. I just want to see him play the whole game, get a regular workload, and look like Aaron Jones again. You guys got anything else to add?
You know, just best of luck to you. If you have some issues, if you're up late night, 3 a.m. betting on Korean billiards or, cricket, just call that 1-800-GAMBLER real quick and just get that done. Please bet responsibly. And if you follow any of our suggestions and lose, it's not on us. That's just a little disclaimer. It's on you for listening to us.
Yeah.
But we appreciate it.
Make sure you go to Tulsi Rose Tea at TulsiRoseTea.com for all of your tea needs. We are going to be bringing you guys some more episodes next week. We got fantasy playoffs starting next week. Toodaloo and peace out.
Buckaroos. Deuces. Come in with the deuces. This is the outro music. You are listening to the outro music. We are going off the air in 5, 4, 3,